Buying a house, worst investment you'll ever make in your entire life. Let's say you paid $1 million to buy a house. Average house here is 576. 576 is what you paid. Now you need 12% for broker fees. Let's say you keep the house 10 years. You need 10% in maintenance fees. It's 1% a year in maintenance fees. It's about 2% in property taxes every year. That's 20%. 2 times 10 is 20. And it's probably 7% to the bank, so that's 70%. Total those up, it's 112%. $576,000 home will have to be sold for $1.2 million in 10 years. You're not going to sell it for that. To break even, dead money, and you had to put $100,000 down to do this. They're serving a master. They'll borrow money from the Bank of America, and then if they can get some more money, they'll have a little retirement account that funds Wall Street. This is a big game, bro. Rather than buying one house, rent where you live, and take that $100,000 and go buy a piece of real estate where other people live. I just don't need to own a home on the way up. I need to own assets that pay me on the way up. And once I have enough cash flow from the assets, then if I want to go buy a house or a watch or a car, I buy it out of the passive income. Buying.
I mean, and this is a good one because there's a lot of things people oversay when they talk about owning a home and that it's an asset to them when it's really a liability. The house you live in is a liability because you're paying interest. You're paying the property tax, probably paying an HOA, maintenance fees. An asset is supposed to be bringing you in money, not taking money out of your wallet. Yeah, maybe your rental property is bringing you money. That's an asset. And when you hear people say like, oh, I got my house for like, say, $500,000 and they sold it for, say, 5 years down the line. Oh, I sold it for like $600,000. I made $100,000. But there's a lot of things they're not telling you. They're not telling you how much interest they had to pay. They didn't tell you how much it cost to upkeep the house, maintenance, fix things. They didn't tell you things about HOA fees, homeowners insurance, a lot of other things that take away from the principal value of the house.
So you can either put 20% for the down payment or 3.5%. I'll go with the 3.5% option. With the 3.5% option, you'll have a higher mortgage payment and you have to pay PMI. And that means you'll be paying tens of thousands of dollars more in interest and fees. Yep, but by doing it this way, I'll become a millionaire. How is that possible? The purchase price for the home is $500,000. At 20% down, my mortgage will be $400K and I'll be paying $2,400 a month. Yes, but at 3.5%, your mortgage will be $482,500. Your monthly payment will be $2,900, and over the lifetime of the loan, you'll be paying $559,000 in interest, plus another $200 a month in PMI. That's almost $100,000 more that you'll be paying in interest and fees. It is, but I'm going to invest the difference in the down payment. So instead of putting $100,000 down, I'm only putting $17,500 and investing the other $82,500 in the stock market. Historically, it's returned around 10% per year, and compounded over 30 years, I'll end up with $1.44 million. Wow, that's a lot more than the interest and the fees that you'll pay on this loan. I see why you want the 3.5% option. How did you learn about this? I follow Sean. He makes real estate easy.
That is crazy risky. I mean, I don't know where people are getting this on average 10%. Like, yeah, sure, but like there are some years where it's bad. And what 10% are they looking at? What window of a 10% are they looking at? Because any 10-year from like then and last 10 years, maybe 10%. But if you say 1990 through 2000, that's a different window. I mean, it's whatever the risk you want, right? Some people say that's not good advice at all. How to leverage yourself to another bankruptcy. Step 1, have the 82.5K. Comment on this one. What do you guys think? Is this sound advice, or would you just like go no?
The reason a lot of people think the market is going to crash is because housing is so unaffordable. And that there is truth to that. Housing affordability, which basically just means how easily the average American can afford the average price home, is at a 40-year low. And that is a problem, right? Like if people can't afford to buy homes, that's going to cause issues with the housing market. But the issue it's causing right now is not a pricing correction, it's a volume decrease. There's just less trading. And there are other ways that affordability crises can be alleviated other than a price correction. The more likely way this gets solved is that prices stay relatively flat, while real wages, so that's basically how much income above the pace of inflation goes up. So if real wages continue to increase, mortgage rates slowly decline, and housing prices stay steady, that is a scenario where affordability can improve, but it will take a few years.
I don't know about that. If real wages go up, then there's going to be more demand in housing, and there's already a short supply as it is. If we count on pay raises, then it's going to take at least 50 years Housing prices do need to come down. Relying on the market to correct from wage increase alone is a fever dream. This sounds great, like the least likely way housing will become more affordable. Yeah, I understand housing's like so unaffordable right now, but there's so many things that just went on, and a lot of us just missed the boat, right?
So a lot of you are thinking that the real estate market is gonna crash. Let's talk about that. So everyone's freaking out because they think that because interest rates are going up, that people are no longer buying property. Today's statistics show that there are still a shortage of homes on the market, meaning that there are more buyers on the market than properties available. Interest rates are up, yes, but that just means there were 100 buyers last year competing for a property. This year, there's only 50. In order for there to be a crash in the market, people have to be giving their keys back to the bank. There has to be an excess supply of property on the market. That's a crash, and that's not what's happening. So a lot of you are thinking,
Yeah, you know what? I keep seeing that ever since 2020. I've been seeing YouTube videos about there's going to be a housing market in 2020. That didn't happen. Oh, there's going to be a housing market in 2021. That didn't happen. There's going to be a housing market in 2022. Didn't happen. 2023 didn't happen. This year, there's so many people making that prediction, and who's to say it will? Maybe it will, maybe it will not. But I'm not going to make a prediction about it. You can't time the market. You can't. No one can predict the future. Everyone's just speculating, and when they're wrong, hey, no one's catching on them, right? No one's questioning, hey, man, you were wrong. Do you want to backtrack? Let's see what they have to say. Lady, drive carefully or your house will be on the market soon. You know what? That's a good point. Why are people recording themselves driving and not looking at the road? There will be a crash, a car crash. Oh, she's a realtor? Yeah, I mean, any realtor will tell you now's a great time to buy, right?
Some people are waiting around for a housing market crash to buy, but you know that's not likely because you follow me, Vivian, your rich BFF, your favorite Wall Street girly who can break it down. The housing market crashed in 2008 largely due to irresponsibly issued mortgages to buyers with questionable creditworthiness. But things are different now. First and foremost, today's homeowners are much more dependable. It was much easier to get a mortgage back then, but mortgages issued to borrowers with sub 620 credit scores has dropped dramatically over the past 20 years, meaning current owners are way less likely to default on their loans and lose their homes. That means no sudden surplus of homes for sale. In fact, housing inventory is low right now. The supply of homes needed to sustain a normal real estate market is about 6 months. Anything more is an overabundance, causing prices to go down. Anything less is a shortage and prices go up. There was a housing surplus in '08 because so many people foreclosed on their homes, causing prices to tumble. If you're waiting for a housing crash, don't hold your breath.
I mean, I agree to that. Unfortunately, back then, 2008, like those times, like you could just get 5 houses with like a 500 credit score. Now it's much more tighter on the lending, who qualifies for a house. And even that, you know, now with houses being more expensive, interest rates higher, it's now harder to qualify for a home loan. So what do? You can't just go back and say, let these people qualify. They can't afford their house, so it's expensive. So what can be done to get the prices to go down? They're not going to go down anytime soon, at least not quick. There's no downtrend I see right now.
Mortgage rates just surged past 7%, which is now a massive issue for the U.S. housing market. It's going to mean the housing crash is going to get worse in the second half of 2023 because home buyers, they can't afford it every month. 7.2% 30-year fixed mortgage rate means the average...
This is old 2023 information. Clearly that has not happened yet with the crash. I mean, I'll watch the rest of the video.
Payment for a home buyer in America is now nearing $3,000 a month, which is over 40% of their gross income. Anyone buying in today's housing market pretty much is going to be house poor and struggling to make the payments. Now, fortunately, these higher mortgage rates, they've caused home buyer demand to go down. Existing home sales are at close to their lowest level in 15 years. Mortgage applications to buy a house are at close to their lowest levels.
Lowest levels because the inventory is low. And people who have low interest rates are staying in the house. They have zero desire to sell right now, unless they're absolutely forced to.
15 years. So what you need to watch out for in the second half of 2023 is that these higher mortgage rates, they're going to suppress demand even further, just as there's a surge in new listings from distressed Airbnb investors and institutional landlords who can't rent out their properties. That's going to be a nasty combination for the housing market. Expect home prices to go down further at the end of 2023.
Well, it didn't happen, right? End of 2023. I mean, end of 2023 is the winter, right? The winter is typically when houses go down. They go back up seasonality. It's the seasonality trend. I hate it when I see like the news and whatnot saying, oh, housing prices went down. Yeah, it's the winter. No one's shopping in the snow, nor do they want to. nor do people want to move in the snow. So this video was 6 months old, and it clearly, not a lot of things lived up to it.
Even though the interest rates have gone up, there still is a dramatic inventory shortage in real estate in almost every city. In order for prices of anything to come down, supply-demand curves have to shift, meaning that the supply has to be much higher than the demand. But when there is the opposite, a shortage versus a glut in the market, when there's a shortage, prices go up. Mm-hmm. So if you want to cause the prices on something to go up, make it scarce. Make it be a shortage. I mean, there is a shortage of real estate. Yeah. And so the opposite of prices tanking, everybody's, it's all going to go away. It's all going to be another 2000. And we kept saying, no, it's not. It's not going to bust. It's not going to bust. We said it is going to slow down. Yeah. And we said, if you're going to sell a house, you're going to have to actually clean it up. Even though
I mean, that's a good point. How can you argue with that? Like 2024, right? Here we are in March. Yeah, it's seasonality right now. I'm seeing more listings go up, but I don't see prices going down yet. And I noticed only houses that go down, or they start cutting it. Yeah, sure, they listed it like way high. People are discouraged by the price, and some of these houses that are listed way high are crap. They're just straight crap. They require a lot of maintenance. They need a new roof. They need a new air conditioning unit, new tile, and they want premium prices. So those are the ones I've noticed that just keeps getting cut. And we're seeing, prices are coming down, getting cut. Yeah, the crappy houses are, but the good maintained houses, they're being snatched up right away because there's no work that needs to be done. There's no shortage. They are just rich people owning multiple houses. That might be true. I mean, I read about how investors are buying much more of the housing market. And it's like, this is kind of like their time to do it because it almost feels like it's kind of controlled that inventory is low because they're the ones snatching up all cash, right? Because they know as soon as more houses are in the market, there's going to be more competition. They'd rather just buy these houses and rent it out. One simple fact, anyone who locked in a lower interest rate, purchase or refi, will not sell their home to buy another home at a higher interest rate. That's why there's a shortage. Plus, they don't want to sell their house and buy a house that's more expensive. Like, who wants to sell their house with a low interest rate for a much more expensive house with a higher interest rate? It doesn't make sense. Residential real estate should not be allowed to be purchased by large corporations. I mean, this is a free market. I mean, in a way, I agree with this guy. But it is a free market. And who's going to tell them they can't, right? The government? Like, why? Why should there be government intervention? If anything, they make things worse.
There is so much rate locked inventory. So as rates decline from 7 to 6 to 5%, that will unlock more inventory. So many people who deferred their moving plans in 2022 and 2023. And at some point, as parents age, as people split up or get married and need a larger house because they're having a third child, you are going to see more homes hit the market. So many of the customers that we're talking to today still don't want to give up their 30-year mortgage at 2.5% or 3%, but they've just outgrown the house and they finally have to let go. I do think that even if interest rates don't come down significantly, we are going to see a modest uptick in inventory. But to see a big gain,
I kind of don't agree with that. I think at that point, if you have more kids, you're getting bunk beds for that room.
You are going to have to see a real drop in mortgage interest rates. What the Fed did in 2020 and 2021 will have a 30-year tail on it. There's going to be low supply for a long time to come unless America really gets religion again about building houses.
Here's another thing. This might be a theory of mine about what these corporations buying houses right now. With high interest rates, they know a common person can't buy it, especially all cash. They just buy it right now at these prices. Let's just say $500,000, easy numbers. 5 years from now, that same house is going to appreciate so much more. And maybe interest rates will finally be down to 3%, but the price is probably going to be, I wouldn't say double, but within 5 years, it's definitely going to be way more than 500,000. So that's a time for those corporations to sell those houses and make a profit.
Hey friends, Happy New Year. As we head into spring market 2024, you're going to start to see a lot more headlines like this where people are projecting bidding wars and rise in prices. And the reason for that is there's a lot of buyers that have been waiting through Q3 and Q4 of 2023. One, because they didn't find what they're looking for. But two, mainly is because they're waiting for rates to come down. Well, rates are coming down and inventory is going to stay low. So it's basic supply and demand where you're going to start to see more bidding wars. Prices are going to increase. So you got to be prepared. Now, it's not going to be the carnage that we saw in 2021, but it's going to be quite aggressive. So make sure you get your pre-approval, you get your ducks in a row if you're looking to buy a house in spring.
Okay, he lost me about the interest. I was agreeing with him for a little bit, but real quick, let's look at interest rates right now. 7%. I don't see it going down. It's stuck at that 7% mark. I mean, it wasn't as high as 8, but 7% sucks, man. Yeah, we saw it as low as 6.6, and then it kind of, people started buying, but then there was uncertainty.
30-year loans at 18%. If you guys go back and watch the commercials that they were showing back in the 80s, it sounds just like what they're saying today.
Buying your own home. But as mortgage interest rates began their relentless climb 2 years ago, fewer and fewer prospective buyers came out to browse. First-time buyers take one look at the size of an average monthly payment and decide to keep renting.
Many people have decided to simply wait out the high interest rates in the belief that eventually they have to come down. But some real estate experts are now saying that if and when mortgage rates do fall, house prices will probably go up.
They see the 17%, the 18%, 20%, and they're afraid to even go out and look. They don't know that there's 11.5, 12.5, 13.5 possibly available in some of the new home subdivisions.
So if you had any advice to give a family that really didn't quite have enough money, what would you tell them?
Beg, borrow, and steal.
Sounds just...
I like that this guy brought up old information of what it was like back then when interest rates were crazy high, up to like the 18%. We're not there. But we can say we're experiencing an increase in interest rates and how much it sucks. I mean, that time didn't really experience, actually I could be wrong, but they didn't really experience a huge shoot up in housing cost, the price of a home. Not like how we have. I think with how fast prices went up with housing, the Federal Reserve is trying to control that by increasing interest rates. Yes, inflation's across the board, 100%. I get that. The biggest crux of this inflation is housing affordability. Now, where interest rates are currently, I don't know if it's working. I'm surprised they haven't, considered another 25% up or anything like that. But I know there's a lot of lobbying where banks are saying, hey, man, we're struggling. Don't shoot up again. Bring it down. Right now, it's just like a stalemate. They're just kind of coasting. Interest rates seem things will break. But right now, we just got a report that the February inflation went up 0.6%. So it's like, man, it's not working. Talks for interest rates to go down, I still don't think it's going down this year. I hope I'm wrong. Honestly, I hope I'm wrong. But man, what can you do about that?
Want to know what to expect from the housing market in 2024? Here's what the latest forecasts say, and I think you're going to like it.
What's ahead for the 2024 housing market? Mortgage rates should come down. Keyword should. So it doesn't mean it's a guarantee. More homes will come to the market. Let's see if there's an increase in supply, and who's to say if corporate companies are going to come in and just snag them. Home price growth will moderate. I'm talking about moderate. They're kind of stagnant right now, and I personally don't see a heavy 20% drop in home prices across the board anytime soon.
According to expert projections, mortgage rates should come down. There are a few reasons for that, but the easiest way to explain it is that inflation is easing, and that means rates should.
Inflation has not been easy. It is 2024 of March. Just read that inflation's still going up. Yeah, it's not going like skyrocket like it was before, but it's still going up.
2. We've already seen rates decline recently. That should continue, but know that there may be some slight volatility here and there. And as rates come down, more homes will come to...
the rates went down. I just showed you. It went down as low as 6.6%, but then went back to 7%. Okay, I guess you can call that volatile.
The market. Why? Because some homeowners delayed their plans to move last year. Now that rates are a little bit lower, some of these people are going to jump right back into the market, and that means more homes for sale. Who's
going to do it? unless they absolutely have to. Who's going to give up their 3% or 4% for a more expensive house and higher interest rate? Who's going to do it? I'd like to know. Please comment below.
That happens, home price growth will be moderate. Basically, prices will continue to climb just at a slower pace, and that's good news for you, and that's good news for affordability. Want to talk more about what 2024?
I don't know about affordability, but I do agree that prices are just stagnant, and they might go up a little bit, just a little bit. It's not like how it was from 2021 and 2023, where house prices went like that. I think that's it. So if you like this video, please like, subscribe, and if you agree, disagree, or anything, please comment below, comment about anything, and I do read them. So other than that, until next time, bye.